Unicorns and glitter and taxidermy critters are just some of the things they like. They also enjoy 80s hair bands, Grizzly Adams and John Goodman, so if you think that's weird then you can take a hike. But the things they enjoy the most are making art and cracking jokes, so without further ado, here are your hosts. You've got your two artsy gals, your two artsy gals. Here are your two artsy gals.
Hey everybody, this is Katie.
This is Sharon.
And this is the Two Artsy Gals podcast. And today we are going to finish up our summer series on selling your art with some talk about branding. Your brand is kind of like the face of your product. It's what you put out into the public. It's what people remember about you. It's how people are going to remember you. And if you think of like brand recognition, like all you have to do is see the Apple logo and know that it's Apple, or the Nike logo and know that it's Nike. And part of that is their branding, the message that their brand sends. And of course the logo is a really important part. Imagery, it gives you something to remember, a visual thing. I guess I'll start off by finding out, Sharon, if you have any specific questions before we get rolling on branding and its role in your business or anything like that.
I don't think so. I think I want to, I've tried to brand myself and I feel like it's been really inconsistent. And I've tried to use logos that were too busy, and maybe you can go over why it's important to just have a really simple logo or a simple branding.
Okay.
And being consistent.
And those are two of the most important things that you just mentioned. First and foremost, I think consistency is a pretty big deal. You can't expect people to remember your brand if you're not consistently putting your brand out there in the same way all the time.
Mm-hmm. And
it's like, if you left the house with a different mask on every day, people wouldn't remember who you were. So, that's actually a really creepy idea. That kind of freaks me out.
But don't do that. But it's a good analogy.
Also, simplicity.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest issue that I've had as a graphic designer in branding and doing logos is when people come to you with big ideas. Mm-hmm. And they want to do this and they want to do that and they want to do this. And I have a friend who I've tried 3 times to design a logo for, and this person doesn't really know what they want. So they keep throwing all these crazy ideas at me. And I'm like,
is it me?
No, I'm like, that's not a thing. I can't do this. And at first I thought, am I lacking in creativity? But now I just realize every time I talk to the person, they give me a different idea, and I'm just like, all right, I'm not doing this for you. But
yeah, I've been told that it's best if your logo can fit on the size of a quarter and that you can quickly look at it. You don't want so much detail.
You don't want a lot of detail. And I think one big thing I notice where people get overboard is color. Mm-hmm. I would use no more than 3 colors in a logo, and that is kind of pushing it, I think, personally, for my choices. But no more than 3 colors. 4 if the 4th is maybe a black outline or something. But you want to keep it super simple. And I think I want to back up a little bit before we get more into logos, because yes, logos are a huge part or piece of the branding puzzle. But before you even get started with your logo, you need to know, and this is going to call back a little bit to one of our first episode when we talked about selling art. What do you want your brand to say? What do you want? What do you want the world to know about you by recognition of your brand?
Right.
If you think of any big product that has successfully branded, if you think of Pepsi-Cola, mm-hmm. you can think of their big simple logo. Mm-hmm. And you think of their commercials, and you think of their, carefree, whatever, young it's energetic. Like Nike has consistently turned their little swoosh into like something that makes you think of sports and activity, and it's not just the logo and it's not just the product. It's a combination of those things. Mm-hmm. So it's really important to first understand who your target market is. Who do you want to sell your art to? I think we talked a little bit about this, like my art is a little bit dark and kind of moody and can be a little bit creepy. So I definitely have an audience. Like there's not everybody's going to like that. So you need to know who the people that you are selling your art to are.
Right.
And
yeah, so it's not like your logo's going to have like a little daisy with a bumblebee on it.
Exactly. I'm not going to have a little smiley flower or anything like that. As a matter of fact, my art logo is I took a photograph of a piece of artwork and just basically turned it into like a black and white or a black drawing on a blue backdrop. Mm-hmm. So, and it's a skull. It's creepy. So, once you know who you're selling things to, then a little bit of market research may not be a bad thing. If you're out selling art, ask questions of people, get some, like, I guess it would be hard to do market research yourself as an artist. That's kind of an odd situation, but note how people react to your work. And like you were saying, when you're trying to figure out what is an appropriate venue to sell stuff in, like, and which craft fairs or which markets are a good place. If you're in a place that you're not getting a good reaction, you need to note that. Mm-hmm. And go, and you need to note that not only because you don't want to sell where people are not going to want to buy your products, but you also, you know who you're not speaking to.
Exactly.
Like you don't want to try to sell things to those people. You don't want to try to sell things to people that don't want them, because then you're just like a douchey, whatever you call it, telemarketer. If you're trying to push your stuff, you're not going to make any sales and you're going to make a bad name for yourself. So know what you wanted to say. Do you want people to think when they think of your brand, do you want them to think of, really high-end professionalism or really professional classy art? Are you working with galleries? Are you going to be talking to galleries? Or are you doing craft fairs? Are you doing more artsy, crafty things that you want people to think of like fun and lighthearted and, know what you're going to say.
Yeah.
Know who your market is. And then move forward with whether you design your own logo or whether you have someone else design it for you. You're going to have, that information is going to tell you what to do with your logo. Mm-hmm. And then again, back to the simple, you nailed it. You have to keep a logo simple. Mm-hmm. Because you want someone to remember it.
Yeah, exactly. And then you want to be able to, like, consistently be able to reproduce it. I mean...
Exactly. And it needs to be able to be used in many different situations. Mm-hmm. It should be a logo that looks good in grayscale or black and white. It should be something that can be, like you said, sized nicely. If you have something with a lot of detail and you scrunch it down and put it on a business card, it's going to look like shit. It's going to be all cluttered and nasty, and everything's going to bleed together. Mm-hmm. And you don't want a lot of detail. You want it to be simple.
Yeah.
Very simple. You're not doing it's not fine art. Mm-hmm. It's advertising. And you want it to stick in someone's head.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is, you want to be able to put it on a business card, on your letterhead, Etsy banner, eBay banners,
Exactly. And that's another thing to keep in mind with your logo is web uses also. Mm-hmm. So, I'm not just saying this because I do logo design, but unless you also are someone who is pretty schooled with like vector files and other image files, and you know how to use software that is going to produce a professional logo, I would look into hiring someone to design a logo for you. Do trade with someone, Yeah. I mean, even if you have a friend that can do it, because the logo, it is the face of your brand. And you don't want something that's chintzy or crappy looking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you want it to, represent you.
Mm-hmm. So once you figured out what you want for your logo, and by, I guess I should backpedal just a little bit, by what your logo is saying, different fonts say different things. If you, like you said, I'm not going to have sunshine, bumblebee, rainbow stuff on my logos, but pay very close attention to, this is one of my biggest fucking pet peeves ever, actually, and I just went on a website today that used a decorative font, and it was a free crochet pattern website, and they used this crazy decorative font, and I had to copy and paste it into Word and change the font so I could even fucking read what it said.
Oh, I hate that. That drives me crazy.
Okay, there's a use for decorative fonts, yes, but anytime it's an amount of text that someone has to read, or in a logo, like, your logo has to, like I said, it has to be small, it has to be big, it has to be all different sizes, and people have to be able to fucking read it.
Yeah, right?
So don't get all crazy old English. Like, I know that stuff looks cool, and I know, trust me, I have so many fonts on my computer right now that I need a new hard drive, because I have I collect them. And I can't just, because defont.com is the most awesome free font place ever.
I freaking love Defont.
But I can't just go there and find a font for the project I'm doing.
Yeah, it's like,
I go like, oh, hey, I haven't seen this one yet. Oh, hey, this one's really cool. I know that the really crazy decorative ones or the really pretty scrolly ones are a temptation because they do convey a lot of emotion. And they create a lot of drama. But if people can't read what it says, they're not going to know who you are. They're not going to remember you.
Right.
And most of the time, like, I don't know about you, but if I can't read something, I don't fucking try.
No, I just move on.
I'm just like, fuck it. I don't have time for this shit. Mm-mm. So keep all of that in mind when you're designing your font. Simple. Nice, or when you're designing your logo. Simple. Nice, clear font if you choose to have words in it. No more than 3 colors. And nice, bold colors. But, oh my God, Sharon, you're so funny. I can only see you from the nose up right now. It's cracking me up. I was like, what happened? It was like I was talking to that guy on Tool Time, the neighbor, Wilson. Oh my God, that's funny.
How's that? Sorry. I was trying to get more comfortable here. That's funny.
So you have your, and keep, like you said, keep in mind, part of your brand and part of being consistent, which is very, very important with branding. Like, if you're not consistently using your logo and using, like, you know, you probably have like a slogan or a tagline that you use on your websites or on your business cards or stuff like that. You're going to have a slogan or a tagline, like Nike, just do it.
Right.
You know,
and
that
people
kind of
only
stuff.
have a few seconds to get that.
Exactly.
I mean,
and it just needs to be short and sweet. No, we're not doing poetry.
Yeah.
You don't put a fucking haiku on a business card. It doesn't work that way. Just one sentence, and a short fucking sentence, you know? Like, when I was in graphic design school, some of the stuff people would come up with when we were doing our final portfolio class and marketing ourselves, some of the sentences like, blah, 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 doing with blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know. It was just crazy. I'm like, oh my God. I'm tired reading that sentence. Like, no one's going to fucking want to read that.
Right. Yeah.
It's not impressive to use a lot of big words in your tagline. It's pretentious and annoying. But all of that needs to be consistently used, is the point. You're going to have business cards. You're going to have a letterhead. And you want your letterhead to probably be printed in color. Or for economic reasons, maybe you just want to do it printed off in black ink.
Yeah, absolutely.
And be able to photocopy it. You know, you're going to use that on any kind of resume that you put out into the world. You want it on your envelopes. Your business envelopes need to have the same logo and your address and as the letterhead does. And you're going to use it on your website. And like you mentioned, Etsy banners or eBay banners or anywhere that your brand is being seen, you want your logo and your message to be seen with it. Yeah. Anywhere that any of your products are. When you go to a craft fair, have a banner made if you can. Mm-hmm. And put it on the front of your table. If you can't do that, at least have your business cards so you can hand them out to people that are there. You know, consistency.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, I mean, if you think of some of your favorite products, like I'm trying to look on my desk at something right now, but I don't have a lot there. But, you know, I mean, like, well, my iPhone's sitting right beside me. Well, what if Apple sometimes used their Apple logo and sometimes didn't? Maybe sometimes they didn't use a logo, or maybe sometimes they used something else.
Yeah.
A
pear.
Yeah, a pear or a pretzel. Like, you wouldn't, you know, I suppose if it was all food you might, or like a daisy. But, you know, I mean, you always want to use it. And I think that's another thing where people run, you know what, it's hard, it's expensive. It's not always cheap to have business cards made. I haven't had business cards made in a long time. I'm super sucky as I'm lecturing about this. But when you show up without your business cards, I actually have a situation. I went a couple years ago with a friend of mine to see an artist, a mixed media artist who was touring with his book. And I had the opportunity just to sit and have dinner with all these mixed media artists that I know from online and from admiring their work, and I didn't have any business cards with me.
Oh, no.
And they were all super nice people, and they were so happy to meet me, and they wanted to know about my art, and I had nothing to show because I didn't have business cards with me. Oh. So none of those people remember me.
Right.
They'll probably look at the pictures and go, who was that lady again?
Well, yeah, and you know, you can totally print out, if you want to even do basic ones, you can print them out at home, but you can also, what's that website that you can print out really cheap? Oh, Vistaprint.
Vistaprint.
You can do really cheap ones.
I know. And my husband and I got in an argument a while ago because I like to use Moo.
Oh, yeah,
Moo's those are not cheap cards, and those are, but they're so nice. They're such nice cards. But I usually have Moo, and I keep those aside for, like, special people.
Right.
That I want to go, oh, hey.
You want to impress them.
She's doing good. She's got Moo cards. Because when someone hands me a card, I know when you can tell. Just by the weight of the paper and the finish of the paper.
Yeah.
They're nice.
They are nice.
But Vistaprint's not bad.
Yeah.
Like, really, as long as you consistently have your logo on it, it doesn't matter if you go buy a fucking sheet of cardstock, a half a ream of cardstock and print them on your home computer.
Totally.
I mean, have ink,
people
though.
just throw them away after a while. But
it's true. But that's actually a good tip, is to have some really nice, high quality ones that you give out sparingly to people that you really want to impress, or people that you really want to remember you.
Yeah.
Or someone that you know is going to keep your card and call you later.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But the Vistaprint, you know, they do have different quality papers and stuff, so
they do.
You can get
they have options. If budget's an issue.
Yeah.
Know that there are cheaper options.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different options for business cards.
Yeah, and again, it's not just about business cards. It's about the letterhead and the envelopes and the signage and everything matching. That's what makes your brand. And being consistent with your message. You know, are you really saying, like, get some outside opinion. Is your brand really saying what it needs to be saying? Like, maybe what you think you need to be saying isn't what your art says to other people.
Right.
You know, get some opinion of your friends and family. Ask around, like, what does my art say to you? Like, maybe the image that you want to portray just isn't what other people are seeing about you. Going back to our other episodes in the series, because I kind of want to tie them all together. I think we already touched on what we talked about in the first episode, which was your message that you're putting out and what your target audience or market should be, where you should be selling. And then we talked about copyright, which is also really important when you're working on your brand and your logo. You need to understand that, like, if you're not using a free font, you know, you're committing copyright infringement. Always use public domain things if you're not going to buy it. You know, Absolutely. And make sure and read the fine print and make sure that it's not something that, you know, make sure what the artist wants you to do with their work. imagery.
Right.
You can't just find a picture that you like and use it. Like, hey, that would be cute for a logo. You can't do that.
No.
Like, it has to be your own artwork or artwork that another artist has done for you. So
Right.
those are really important when you're talking about branding, because you can't be known as the crazy person that used someone else's image for a logo.
Right.
Like, people are
That's
going to
not what you
remember
wanna
that
be
about
known
you. Yeah, no, you don't want to be known for that. So, and then the photography, taking professional, nice quality images of your work and representing all of your work in the best possible light. All of that works with branding, and branding is what makes it all fit together.
Mm-hmm.
And gives you, it really does give you a leg up.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
in a market, where, like I think we mentioned before, Portland is pretty fucking saturated with really creative people.
Mm-hmm.
And
you want to stand out.
You need to stand out. You really do. And if you have your shit together and you have a nice banner with your logo on it and your brand is represented and you have cards and you have a website, someone's going to see your web page on your business card and go to your website, and there, bam, again, is your logo and your brand and your tagline. And people are going to see it and people are going to remember it. And when they see you at other craft shows, they're going to go, oh, hey,
I know that.
There's that lady I was telling you about. She does awesome fucking work. Or that dude does some cool shit. Come check this out. They're going to remember you, and it's going to get you more business.
Absolutely.
But it's all of these things fit together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think...
Exactly.
I think that forgetting one thing or pouring all of your energy into one thing is you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because none of it means a thing without branding,
Mm-hmm.
without promoting your brand and keeping it. And I know it sounds maybe it sounds a little bit cheesy. And here's the thing. I think creative people are a little bit better at this than, say, my husband, who's a barber.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that he's not creative, because he is in his own way, but he doesn't like this shit. He's not good at this shit. He needs someone else to do it for him.
Yeah. And sometimes I think even creative people need to step back from it a little bit.
Well, and the worst trouble I have with, like, narrowing down logo designs and stuff are with creative people.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, oh, just let me do my fucking job. Like, listen to my voice. I'm the one that's telling, like, I think that my role when dealing with really creative people is to be the person who says no.
Yeah.
Like, no, that doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's too busy. No, that's too much. Some creative people are fucking awesome at it, but other people are just not. And my husband is really bad at it. Like, he doesn't know things.
You're right.
He does, but it's not that he doesn't want to be. It's not that he's not good at it. I think that him in particular, he just wants to cut a dude's hair and get paid. Like, he doesn't want to fuss with all the shit.
Yeah.
It bothers him.
About it.
So, that's what he has me for, though.
Right.
I think about that stuff for him.
That's right.
And maybe, if it's not working, if you feel like you've been working on branding, promoting a brand for a while and something isn't working for you, step back and ask somebody else.
Right. And maybe it's time to switch it up,
Mm-hmm. Maybe your logo, like I said earlier, maybe your logo's not really saying what it should be saying. It might be saying what you want it to be saying, but maybe it's not saying what it should be saying. Maybe you have a shitty logo and you just think your logo is cute and cool because you made it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll give some examples of, I can really only give examples of logos that I've made, but for instance, the logo for our Two Artsy Gals podcast, the logo that I have for my graphic design business, and the logo that I have for my art are all three very, very different logos.
Right.
They're super different.
Well, because they need to portray a different feeling.
Exactly. I don't know, just wrapping this up a little bit, because I kind of want to, I think we already brought it together pretty well, but consistency with your branding, and then consistency with the other things that we talked about too. You want your brand to be representing a good product, and you want your product to be recognized with good branding.
Yeah.
And they can't really exist without each other.
Exactly.
I don't really know. I feel like that's kind of wraps it up pretty good. Did you have any other questions at all about branding or anything
I don't
that we
think
talked
so.
about?
Yeah, thank you for going over that because I'm not very good at it at all. And so I think all that information was really helpful.
I feel like we had a listener mail this week and I don't remember where it was, so I've lost it. So I'm sorry, listener, that someone commented it was something about Martha Stewart, but I'll look through my email and our Facebook page again and we'll read it next week because I don't know what happened to it. So it's been a weird day in my computer. I'm so nervous right now because my computer has been having issues. So no listener mail this week. If you do want to send us mail, because we always love getting it and we always love reading it. And if you have any questions or comments about this episode or any other, if you feel like we missed something as far as branding goes, you can email us at 2artsygals@gmail.com. And we love hearing from you. And I will have some examples and show notes up on our blog like I always do, which is 2artsygals.wordpress.com. And as always, you can subscribe to our podcast through iTunes or Stitcher. Both have free apps for your mobile devices, and both will automatically update when we have new episodes up, so you don't ever have to worry about that. So do that.
Do it. We love it.
Do it. We totally love it. All right. Well, until next week, make some cool shit, yo!
Yo!
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.